In terms of my profession, I'm a doctor. I'm an internal medicine resident with a special interest in gastroenterology, neurology. Besides medicine, I love music. I play the piano. Wherever I go, I keep telling people that I'm not a professional musician, but a passionate one. From deep down, and this is without your parents having to push you.
Yeah.
You need to have the thing to say that I want to do this.
Yeah.
You know,
The reason,
that has to
the
come.
why.
And the why, exactly.
Yeah.
For me, that came from God as well.
Yeah.
When I reached out to Him, that conviction has to be there.
Yeah.
Because it's not an easy road.
So I also shared the same thing. I asked them, get your why straight. What that does, it gets you through the tough times.
Exactly. It really does. Trust me, it does.
Yeah, because you know that you've wanted to do this, and now you're doing it.
Exactly.
You know? And because we're taught to sacrifice the other.
Exactly.
You're taught to sacrifice the music for
always.
yeah.
You know, that's all I heard growing up.
Your whole life, yeah.
High school, and we're like, okay, this is the time you need to let go of music. High school, metric karne study group lage. Music no group.
Yeah.
Music group time na thakbo. 10, 11, 12, oh, science, you can't do it.
Yeah.
You know, you shouldn't be doing it. It's not can't, but you shouldn't be doing
Yeah.
it. Because you need to get serious with your life. Even around that time, when I got through that, people were like, oh, now it's time to give up music. This is medicine you're talking about.
It's something serious.
You
like,
know,
focus
like,
on this.
more than seriously, like, you're not going to have time. Now I'm in my internal medicine residency. I play music. I do music every single day, you know. I always challenged when people say that, not in terms of words, but I always ask the question, why again? And say, why not? Since you mentioned Alobo, I think I was about 11, 12 years. Alobo had a band, okay, and I was there 11 years, 12 years, no? And I used to play with them. Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
I remember the tune, ta da ta 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 da da da. And people think that I passed with flying colors, but I didn't. I failed in all of them. I could not get through in any of them. And that's when I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? In that low point, I think is when I really sat down and said, God, I don't know what to do. I was telling her as well yesterday that what parents sometimes lack up for in knowledge, they make up for in wisdom.
Oh,
you
wow.
know, and because I think as youngsters we're very rebellious and say, oh, my parents like this. At the same time, for parents as well to understand that we need to give our child space for them to grow. And I don't think the problem is education anymore. You see, everyone's getting educated in the world. We are all educated, but educated just enough to know what we have been taught, but not educated enough to question what we have been taught.
A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4.
Ready? We're rolling? Audio? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Munguli podcast. We have someone who I've always wanted to have since the inception of podcasts. He's been someone that I've watched for a long time, wanted to meet for a long time. And in fact, this is the first episode that we have someone that I have never met before. And we're meeting for the first time here and we're having a conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Kevin Savino. Thank you, Kevin, for coming on. How are you today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Can you just give a little bit of an introduction for those people who don't know you?
Hi, everyone. My name is Kevin Savino, more well known as Kevin Savino.
Yeah.
In terms of my profession, I'm a doctor. To be more specific, I'm an internal medicine resident with a special interest in gastroenterology, neurology. So fingers crossed, let's see what happens. Besides medicine, I love music. I play the piano. And wherever I go, I keep telling people that I'm not a professional musician, but a passionate one.
Wow.
So it's just music and medicine. That's it.
How nice. How nice. Music and medicine.
Yeah.
That's cool. How do you know that was your camera? Did they tell that to you?
No,
I just
figured out that there was a thing blinking there. I was like,
so that's your camera, that's mine. And
it
that's
wouldn't look nice if I was introducing that
you
way.
could,
so
anything works.
Okay,
is,
all right.
is as
So
natural as
do I
more or
look
less
over
here.
there?
It's just a
Okay,
conversation.
good.
Yeah.
All right,
So you could still, if you want to address, if you want to, if you want to just
Okay.
give a threat to someone or something,
Yeah,
that would be nice. What does a doctor specializing in internal medicine do?
Good question.
Yeah, what do you do?
I asked myself. So when you complete your MBBS, you go for your postgraduate studies.
Yeah.
whether it's in India or anywhere else
Yeah.
in the world,
Yeah.
and you specialize in something.
Yeah.
Now, that could be in surgery, that could be in medicine,
Yeah. Yeah.
pediatrics,
Yeah.
ophthalmology, and all of that.
Yes, yes.
So I'm in internal medicine.
Yeah.
So that kind of specializes with all the diseases that you hear about,
Yeah.
high blood pressure,
All right.
all the general medicine stuff.
Okay.
And then down the line, you super specialize.
Yeah.
So you're more niche into a specialty.
Yes.
Maybe if it's the heart, then
Yeah.
you focus on cardiology.
Yeah.
If it's the brain, neurology.
Yeah.
in
So,
your
so
brain,
is that
yeah.
somewhere you want to be? You want to be a super specialist in something?
Hopefully,
eventually?
praying about it. So, my interest is more in the gastroenterology.
That's
do
great.
The stomach. So let's see.
How far along are you in that? Like, in the sense, how long has it been since you graduated high school?
High school.
Yeah. Because that's when you decided you're going to do medicine, right?
Not really.
Oh, okay,
but,
okay.
long story, but
We'll get there. We got time.
just in terms of medicine, it's been 10 years.
Oh, wow. All right. That's
I
great.
started this in 2015 was
Okay.
the year that I
That's MBBS.
MBBS.
And where do you do MBBS?
I did it in the south,
Okay.
CMC Vellore.
Okay. And
Christian
you're headed
Medical
there.
College, Vellore. Sorry.
You're headed there after this.
No. So I'm based now somewhere else.
No, but you're headed there after this. You said no. You're here to visit your friends.
Oh
or something?
yes. Not there, but like
Yeah.
around the area. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
All right. Tell us a little bit about. So you said you're into music and medicine. Which came first?
Music, obviously.
Yeah. when did music start?
Music started for me when I was about 8.5,
Oh, wow.
9 years.
Yeah.
So I would say not too early, but
Yeah.
not too late either.
Yeah.
It started off because my parents thought I was wasting my time. So just like any
So
other
8 is like
kid.
what, class 3, 4?
Yeah, 3, 4.
Yeah.
I love playing marbles. So all I did every single day was marble.
How good were you?
I think I was pretty good.
Everything
You know,
starts with
with
an
the-
M in your life.
Yeah, that's
Marble,
what, I know.
medicine, music.
Right. So marbles, and I have my collection with my Daigel, that special one.
Okay.
Every time I'm there, the naksingam every sorry.
Oh,
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I think we gotta get this. No worries. Should be okay now.
Okay. Do I need to say it? Okay.
Yeah.
So then on one of those days I was in church.
Yeah.
And I did that when the hymn was playing, with the congregation. So my parents saw that, and then they thought, oh, maybe he's interested in piano.
Like a shadow playing thing.
It didn't even cross my mind.
Yeah.
I was just doing this.
Okay.
And then, so they enrolled me in music classes, and
Yeah.
then, that's how I got
How
started.
nice. How
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
What I mean by music or medicine came first was, did you always want to be a doctor? What was if someone asked that Kevin Savino, what was your aim in life? What would you answer when you were playing marbles?
I didn't know. I don't think if you go to like everyone else, if you ask
Yeah.
me then and say, what do you want to become? I say, I want to be a doctor, just like everyone else,
okay. Yeah.
doctor, engineer, that
Yeah.
sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But maturing and realizing what I really want to do came down the line. But initially it was just go with the flow,
Okay.
you know?
How many of you siblings?
So it's me, 2 elder siblings and 1 younger brother. So far,
Oh, nice. So you're like almost the middle child.
Yeah, kind of,
Yeah. The third.
Yeah.
The third. Oh, how nice. And tell us a little bit about your childhood. Where did you grow up? Where were you born?
So brought up in Dimapur,
Mm-hmm.
schooling in Dimapur.
Yeah.
So that's
Just a
it's
normal chill.
normal chill childhood, playing
Nice.
marbles,
Nice.
day in and day out.
All right. So you were enrolled into your music classes and all those things. When did you start taking that seriously?
When did I take? Oh, so when I did start,
Yeah.
I remember my first day in class. It was this 5-octave piano, and it was with our local music teacher from our church.
Okay,
It was
okay.
the first piano teacher, and then I remember sitting there with this 5-octave keyboard,
Okay.
just a small one,
Yeah.
I'm looking at all the white keys and the black keys, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I cannot possibly learn all the white and
Yeah,
black
yeah.
keys. It's just a 5 small octave keyboard.
Yeah.
And initially, I struggled. I think I really struggled initially with, you get your pieces.
Okay.
You'll do 1-2 piece, and I'll be like, oh my goodness, I can't do this.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's only somewhere down the line, one of my cousins, he also played quite well. And when I saw him play for the first time, he was also in high school, and he was playing this classical piece. And I heard it, and I was like, oh my goodness.
That's my mom. Uja. This always
Hi,
happens
auntie.
early. Kevin, Savino,
Nice to meet you.
they're headed out. So I asked them to actually just come in and meet you
Okay.
before they leave.
So nice.
Yeah. No, we're not, Uja. I know. All right, I love you. Bye. They're going to the hospital. There's someone sick.
Okay. Thank you.
So, yeah. No, bye. Uba na Ajuma. My dad also. He'll say hi, I guess.
Okay.
Uba, Kevin, my
Oh.
father.
Hi, uncle.
They're already here, so you can shake hands. You can keep it going, both. It's fine. You can keep it going.
Oh, yeah.
No, I love you. Pretty candid.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Bye. No, they usually meet the guests,
Oh,
but then
is
they're
it?
headed out. So I
Okay.
just told them, like, if you're leaving, just come say hi.
So
and all that.
nice. So nice.
Yeah.
That's really nice. Yeah.
You guys, while they're doing that, what would you want to have for dinner? We'll have dinner here.
Anything.
What are you in the mood for?
I don't know. Naga food.
Naga
or
food?
no, anything.
Anything.
Whatever.
I asked my
you-
mom to cook, but then they're headed out. So she was like, not tonight.
No, anything. We do.
Alright.
I'm not very picky with food. Yeah.
Oh, we'll get to that topic as well.
Oh. Interesting.
Yeah. Because you're in a place where food is rather bland.
Yeah, kind of. I cook my own food, so I'm no
Nice.
complaints.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
All right. So your music thing. You saw your cousin who was playing it really well.
Oh yes. So my cousin and I heard him play, and I was like, damn, I
Yeah.
want to play like that, you
Yeah.
know. And somewhere down the line there, the interest kind of picked up. Then
Okay.
it was a very playful thing. It was not like tuitions or class,
Yeah.
but just at home.
You
and
had
then
fun.
Kind of
You had
play.
fun.
I really had fun
Wow.
learning as well.
Yeah.
Put in a lot of hours in practice.
What type of a kid were you? Were you someone who's like, are you extroverted? Introverted?
Depends on the situation, but generally, I think I'm an extrovert.
Yeah. So
I
you're quite like out
think
there
so.
when you were a kid as well.
Yeah, kind of. I think.
How
so.
nice. How nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then you started picking this up. It was all fun. Did you have keys in your house as well, and you were playing it often, or?
Yeah, by then I got my parents obviously gifted me a
Wow.
keyboard. I started off practicing on the table, then moved on to a small 5-octave keyboard,
Yeah.
and then my parents gifted me a digital, the 88 keys.
I wouldn't
one.
know. I don't play keys.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, the big one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think that helps.
Yeah.
Wow. And when did you start? What happened after that? Like, when did you start performing? Were you performing often?
Yeah, so 8.5 years, picked up music,
Yeah.
and by the end of that year,
Mm.
and someone suggested that, you should start or try appearing for those exams.
Yeah.
Those days it was Trinity.
When I used to appear.
Oh, is
I
it?
play guitar.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So they advise that you need to,
Yeah.
start preparing for those exams.
Yeah.
So by the time I was about 9 years old,
Yeah.
is when I kind of got into it. Started slowly playing in church, accompanying the choir.
Yeah. When you were 9.
9.
Wow.
Then one weddings here and there.
When
9,
you were
10.
that young,
Yeah, 9 years. Yeah.
how did that feel? Did you like it, or were you rather nervous?
I don't think I was ever nervous. Like
That's
obviously you
good.
have that, that rush.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I know when I'm on stage and I forget about everything.
Oh, nice.
Like, if I get lost into it, that's it.
So you found it when you were really young.
Yeah, I loved being on stage and just playing.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow. Alobo was here, and Alobo also shared the same thing. Like
Is
he
it? Oh,
he
yeah.
he liked the attention.
Mhm.
He liked just entertaining people
Oh,
and
yeah,
all those
yeah.
things. No, and in fact, Koko was here, and Koko shared the same thing. Koko shared that she was not about like the fun aspect of it. I'm pretty sure she had fun, but she shared about how she never had stage fright. And yeah, I think similar to you, I guess.
Yeah.
Where does that come from? Because stage fright is rather common.
Really?
I think so for younger people, for someone who's
Maybe,
going in there
but
first.
then again, I play the piano, no? So
Yeah.
I'm like, I can look down.
It's not really eye contact to the people and all
yeah,
those things.
but once you're lost in the music, you're
You're in
uh,
the- you're in the zone.
into
You're in the
that.
zone.
It's more like, oh my gosh, there is this melody in my head, or
Yeah.
I want it to play, or I hear it a certain way.
Yeah, yeah.
Can I convey that to the people who is like
Yeah.
hearing me play?
Yeah.
It's more of the excitement,
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right.
It's
So,
very nice, yeah.
all right, just since we are going like chronologically, what happened after that? What happened? You started playing all these, and were you playing shows? Were you?
Yeah, so when I was about 10, 11 years,
Yeah.
then I was really involved with church music.
Which church is this?
It's the Kota village
Okay,
church,
Nagajan.
So yeah, Nagarjan. So playing with the
Are you guys the same church?
same as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, so a lot of youth choir, adult choir,
Yeah.
congregation, and all of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But in terms of secular music and just like that, I think it was, here and there. But again, since you mentioned Alobo, I think I was about 11, 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
And Alobo had a band.
Mm.
It was called Spark Band.
Okay.
Okay, and I was there 11 years, 12 years, no? And
Were you
I used
part
to
of
play
it?
with them. Yeah.
Oh
So
wow.
I remember the tune. Ta, da, ta, 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 da, da, da. So,
How did that happen? Like, who reached out? Did he reach out to you, or like how did that
yeah,
happen?
it was some church member or something like that. And then he came home.
Yeah.
And then he's my neighbor as well. Like, not
since
now,
their
but
his
in,
parents.
exactly.
Yeah.
So then I think from there it kind of took off. So we'd go in different, all
Yeah.
the cafes
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
and the programs and all of that with our 4 or 5 songs. And then
How nice.
You know?
And your parents were always supportive of that.
parents are chill.
So
they were
good.
like, okay, yeah, go.
So good. It's such a privilege to have that.
Yeah, they were stern in a lot of ways.
In what ways?
But of course, like they
Studies and all that.
studies. Obviously, they
Yeah.
were like, okay, you need to still keep
Get-
up your grades and
yeah.
all of that, like every other parent.
Mm-hmm.
But they also give us the freedom, me the freedom to also explore this side
Yeah, yeah.
of me. Yeah. So,
Where does the
really
doctor
thankful.
side of it come from? Like, is it like something you genuinely wanted to do, or
so I think, except for few people who have everything figured out
Yeah,
from
of
the
course.
time they're young,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
say, I want to do this.
yeah,
Most of us, we have a question mark.
you're figuring it out as you go?
What do I do?
Yeah.
And even till today, we're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
sometimes. But same for me. I fell more into that other category where I was like, what am I doing with my
Yeah.
life? Even though I was doing music,
Yeah.
medicine in a way, I always had a knack for learning why. I always question why,
Mm.
and something that really that I was really curious about was the human body.
Oh wow.
How it worked.
Like bio stuff.
Biology.
Yeah.
Not that I was, like extremely
Like geek knowing that.
geek or anything
Yeah,
like that,
yeah,
but
yeah,
like it was just one of those things that
Yeah.
kept me on my toes and be like that. So
Yeah.
even though I said I wanted to be a doctor,
Yeah.
it's only down the line that I kind of realized that okay, maybe I can
Actually do this.
try, not
Yeah.
do this, but at least try and then
Yeah.
give it a go. Of course, there was a bit of a parents' push as well,
Yeah. Of course.
but yeah. So that's when medicine kind of came in the picture as well. Yeah. So,
What about your siblings? What do they do?
so siblings, my eldest one, he's married. He's doing his own job somewhere. My
Yeah,
sister is also in his education.
Yeah.
Then then my younger brother, he's also working down
Yeah.
south. So
So like, just you're the one like.
I'm on one out.
You're the one
Yeah.
out.
In
Yeah.
fact, in our immediate family, we don't have any doctors or musicians.
Oh, how nice! I was just gonna ask, are your parents doctors and all
No,
that?
They have no clue about medicine or music. Yeah.
Oh, really? So the music
No
also
clue.
comes just like your
They
first
have
generation.
No clue. I don't think they can hold a note and sing in parts. So they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Playing something and they'll be like, okay.
Makes sense.
So yeah.
No, that's interesting because same like my parents also they have no idea what graphic design is. Like they
Mm.
can never like like when they ask, oh, what's Mung doing now? My mom will be like, oh, he's a creative director. What does he do? He just sits on his desk and he's like talking to these people abroad, like all these things because it's so hard to like get them to even understand.
I understand.
You know,
Yeah,
but same, but like that's also again that's such a privilege for them to just again in our land I use the word allow. So for them to allow us to do something that is so the things that they can't comprehend, especially like of course you're doing your medicine and all those things, but
Yeah.
like even when you're young, you're going around playing with bands and all those things.
Yeah.
What age was this?
So that would be around what, 12 years?
Exactly,
12,
that's
13
like-
years.
That's
Class 7, 8.
So young.
High school.
7
years, 8 years, yeah.
And what kind of a student were you academically? Were you still balancing it well?
I like to think so. I wasn't doing bad.
Like decent?
Decent. Every time I say this, I say, no, you're a good student. So,
Huh?
yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, and there.
It's important to be decent. All right. So then, what else? What else were you into when you were young? Since we are already in your childhood, were you into other things? Sports or
I was not really a sports guy,
Yeah.
but love football.
yeah?
Huge Manchester United fan.
Man U fan.
Do you watch
Nice.
football?
Yeah, I'm a Barca fan.
Barca, okay.
Messi
Not in the
fan, yeah.
Premier League.
Decent bit, but like really like I was like huge when it was like 2013 to 19 was like
Yeah.
boarding school. That was the thing we would always watch.
Yeah, exactly.
Weekends and like we have this like
Yeah.
Messi, Ronaldo.
Yeah. So yeah, that, and then just spending time with cousins. Growing up, there was no phone or social media.
yeah. How
So it
old are you?
was- How old do I look?
I knew that was coming. You look pretty young.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh my God, I
but
think
given
I
you have
look
done
old.
10 years of MBB,
Yeah.
let me reverse engineer this thing.
Oh no, my
Right,
age is
so
gonna go out.
You're, do you take gap after your high school?
Yes. So you can account that.
That's
And
harder
then I
now.
worked before starting my postgraduate. I worked for 2.5 years
Oh,
after
gosh.
my graduation. So
So
add all
you're
of that
clearly
up.
not in your 20s. You're 35.
Oh my goodness, I'm not that old. I'm younger than that. I will be
33.
turning 30 this year.
30.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. How does that happen? Wait, you graduated, you started working. Okay, makes sense. How long of a gap do you take after
1 year.
1 year?
Yeah.
See, when you said gap, I thought like you took like
Ah,
3-4
no,
years.
just 1 year.
You're playing music. I considered those things as like you took
No,
4 or 5
no,
years
no.
of that, and then you started working and all those things.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Oh, all right. You're 30. Right, that's nice. All right. So growing up, you didn't have phone. You were playing with you were just with your cousins and all those things.
Just with cousins,
Yeah.
running around, fishing, climbing
Yeah.
trees, that sort of stuff.
Nice.
Very carefree life.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with social media.
Yeah.
So.
Would you say you always had the talent, like a gift from God with your with music, or was it like just something you? Of course, there's hard work aspect of it, but like was it just like naturally you had it from the very beginning kind of a thing? Once you start playing a little bit, you had the groove.
No.
Okay.
Actually, when I started, like I said, I really struggled with it initially.
Yeah.
And I was very confused,
Yeah.
How do I make this work?
Yeah.
It was initially more like it's just another tuition or another class that I'm attending,
Yeah.
music classes.
Uh-huh.
And back then, you really didn't have options as well.
Yeah.
Today, we have a lot of music schools, all musicians,
Yeah,
just pockets here and there
Yeah,
that you could
yeah.
actually, reach out to and learn.
Yeah.
And somewhere down the line, but I knew I had a knack for it because I would listen to a song, and even if I could not play it,
Yeah.
I will act it out. So it was like if I hear a nice song,
Yeah.
bajao dun na pare, on the keys.
yeah.
But I would be like,
It's happening. It's happening. in your
I
head.
can picture myself there that I was kind of playing
Yeah.
it. It was only later down that when I could play it, then I could translate what was happening here and here
Yeah.
to here,
That's so good. That's good.
Yeah.
In design also, in art and design, we have that thing, the head and the heart and the hand correlation, right? I mean, this comes first,
Yeah.
and also the passion, but then like being able to now put that into bringing it to life,
Right,
right?
yeah.
And I think that takes time.
It's
But-
still a work in progress.
Exactly.
Till today,
Yeah.
So-
That tuning,
Exactly.
and it's also not linear. One feeds the other,
Yeah.
and like you gotta feed it often, or else it's kind of
Exactly.
like it slows down the wheel.
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing wrong with it. You have seasons in life, but yeah. With that said, so you definitely had visions of like you playing it and all those things when you were young.
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want to think, you
Yeah.
pick up something like that and then you're like, oh, this
So
is,
you had your cousin,
uh-huh.
but then who else were you looking at and like wanting to be like and all those things?
No one actually.
Really?
No, I didn't have someone like, of course, people say idols. I
Yeah.
don't like to use the word idols.
Same. Yeah.
Role models, rather.
Yeah.
And everyone that I came across,
Yeah.
not necessarily a pianist,
Yeah.
but like my childhood was like filled, or I was surrounded with musicians,
Oh, really?
with singers or guitarists, or playing and coming across so many personalities from a young age.
Yeah.
And then I would take all those small pockets that inspired
You
me.
learn something or the other from everyone.
Yeah. So that's how I, learn a bit from everyone. Yeah.
What are a few things that stuck with you till now that helped you early on? Like a few advice maybe from people or something that you really stuck to? Is there anything like that?
So musicians that would say, even though they knew that I was probably going in a different career trajectory, they will say, don't stop playing, And another important thing that my mom would always say and remind as well, whatever you do, you need to put God first, and then it's, now that I look back, that I'm almost done with my 20s now. I sound very old. But I look back.
When do you turn 30? When do you turn 30?
This year.
Birthday?
Huh?
Birthday?
December.
Oh, so you got time.
I've got time. I'm still in my 20s. Yeah. I'm going to enjoy this entire year. Yeah. But all that said and done, how important it is to have God first in your life. And time again, like through my ups and downs, I've been reminded how important it is to stay
anchored,
grounded, you know. And that advice that I was given when I was a small kid, even till today, it holds true, you know. And I can talk about a lot more about music and how it has helped me, but it's been quite a journey.
Oh, how nice. How's your relationship with God been? Like, when did it start? Like, when did the personal relationship with Him start? Do you have any kind of encounters, or was it just like a gradual thing? You sound like you said your mother and all those things, so pretty normal Naga Christian family with like parents who.
So I think my first encounter with God, like the one that really shook me to the core, was when I was again confused with what I want to do with my life. You know, and sometimes that's a way of you finding out and reaching out to God in a way. And then for me, even though I grew up playing in church and being surrounded by all of that, and I would say my childhood was pretty smooth, not many hiccups. And when it came to the turn where I had to ask myself and say, what am I going to do next? Because there was a huge influence from music, and say, okay, Kevin's going to take up arts and do music. That's what people expected. And on one side, it's like, medicine. And we are talking about two different streams.
Completely.
That's what I thought. Now that I think music and medicine are so alike, I can tell you more about that. But so there was a lot of confusion. And I'm sure a lot of people go through, even youngsters now, what stream do I take? What do I do? And back then, when a lot of people, they were rushing, rather, I call it the rat race, you know. You have to do something. So you see your friend doing something or going there, and then we're like, okay, let's do it. It's a fad, FAD. Keep saying that. So they start running after that stream, and then
just for the sake of
you end up with a degree, and you're like, what do I do next?
You
know, and I didn't want to go through that. So it was a very trying time, a very confusing time. Here I was playing piano for all these years, and I never considered myself like accomplished or anything, but I knew I wanted music in my life. But then this the other side of science and the art behind that,
your curiosity
and the curiosity, and a bit of parents' push initially as well. And for a teenager, I was in my teens, 16, 17, around that time. Not 16, just before science stream and around that, 16, 17, 15, around 16.
That, 16.
And so I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. You know? And even while I was preparing my exams, and people think that I, flew, passed with flying colors, but I didn't. I failed in all of them when I tried. 10? Not class 10, for my medical thing,
okay.
So I could not get through in any of them initially. So those days,
like the NEET and all that.
I think those days were called AIPMT. Now it's NEET, but AIPMT, JE those days.
Okay.
and different exams as well. I could not get through anything. And that's when I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? And in that low point, I think is when I really sat down and said, God, I don't know what to do. Because till then I was like, okay, I can do it on my own. You know, young guy, everything is happening the way I want it to be. And then you hit that roadblock. And then you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? And I said, God, I can't do this anymore.
Wow.
You know, like help me. And then there were so many instances around that time as well in terms of people's prayers. Like I was always involved with church and music. And I remember one of those youth services where they had invited some of us, you know, who were planning to pursue further studies. Obviously, I didn't have anything planned then. And they said, Kevin, why don't you come and share as well? It was just another regular youth service. And I remember encountering one of my favorite verses, Jeremiah 29:11, you know. And that really spoke to me. And then
For
I think...
the plans I have for you?
Yes. And then I think that I can say, I can really remember it, you know, as one time where I say, God, like, I can't do this, you know, please lead the way.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
Wow. And so, since you're already in this story, what happens next?
What happens next? Let me think. So again, so it's not like so you encounter and then next day you start seeing.
That's why
things.
I wanted to get to, because a lot of people may think like that.
You're like, oh, pray crochet, and next thing you're getting it. It doesn't work that way. You need to also walk the walk, Vijay. So with that, with the newfound commitment and prayer, I prayed and I said, I'm going to try again. So this is just to, kind of orient you. That is the time where I had finished my 12 standard and then, you sit for all these exams and I failed in all of them. Could not get through and I was quite confused. And most of the people, like you said, are going around. And that's one of the worst times ever, because...
It feels like they're going ahead and you're stuck behind. Right?
Yeah, that and also the annoying people around them. They say, "Tila bacha ki kure se?"
The societal
societal thing. Why don't you send him there? Why don't you do that? So you don't want to even go out as well. I'm sure a lot of people face that as well.
Okay.
What is your kid doing? Why don't you send him there? Why didn't I didn't want to listen to all of that. And it really kind of bore down on me. Because growing up, playing and people would ask, oh, isn't he doing music and all of that? And here I'm in a complete different stream altogether.
And it was all like kind of positive. And then all of a sudden, like you're also kind of like, is this...
So I'm, but around the time I remember my late grandfather, he wrote this letter for me. Wow. And now that I remember it, it went something like, it's from a hymn. I've got it framed in my room. It may not be at the mountain's height or the stormy sea. It may not be at the battle's front. My Lord will have need of me. Wow. I'll go wherever you want me to go.
Wow.
And then in red, Kevin, God calls us in many and various ways. Don't neglect that still small voice. Wow. You are at a crucial stage in your life. In Fatah. And he penned that, and then, I was too young to understand that, but even if I read it today, it gives me that, like you said, wow. It speaks volumes even till today. Wow. And with that newfound conviction, it's almost like a scene from a movie, So I sit in my room, computer, and go to Google, and this is coming from a kid who was decent in his studies. I wasn't that bad. But no big academic achievements in a way. And I've already kind of failed all my initial attempts. So I sit down there, go to Google, and I type top medical colleges in India. Enter, and then the list comes out that says like first was AIMS. I'm sure you've heard of AIMS. AIMS. Then second was Christian Medical College, Vellore. Third was...
That's where you went to eventually.
JIPMER, AFMC. And all of those came out. So I said, I'll just read the top 3. I don't care about the rest,
Amazing.
And I said, I'll download the AIMS prospectus. Let me see what they have to offer. So I'm looking at the AIMS prospectus.
Yeah.
I'm like, it talks about education excellence and all that, all good. But for me, I'm too. I was known as a restless kid growing up. I'm like, I can't imagine just studying day in and day out. And I always disagreed with when people say, especially in science stream, you have to study for 8,
Only
12
focus
hours.
on this kind of a thing. Yeah.
8, 12 hours.
Yeah.
Can I study 8, 12 hours? No.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can barely
Especially
sit
after
down.
the childhood you've had.
Oh my goodness, I can't even sit down for that long.
Yeah.
Imagine me sitting down for 8, 12 hours in science stream,
Yeah.
mad. Then I've checked out CMC's prospectus and I'm going through the PDF file and there's a section, music, arts,
Crazy.
drama, sports. And I'm like, I read through this entire paragraph and they say, we encourage extracurricular activities, blah. And I said, that's it. I want to go there.
Yeah.
And somewhere deep down, I had that rush, I prayed about it and I said, God, if this is your will, please show me how the way. And I talked to friends and then just inquiring, and they said, no, you need to prepare for it.
Yeah.
So the next big thing was, Kota.
Yeah,
Rajasthan is where everyone will fly to
the
initially
coaching thing.
for coaching.
Yeah.
And so I packed my bags and then
Oh, you had
that's
you
my
went-
drop, my gap year.
So you spent the year in Kota.
Yeah, almost a year.
Yeah. Okay. It's crazy how young people go there, right?
Exactly. Oh my goodness.
I've heard they're like Biharis and all that who go there in like class 8 and all. They just don't care about their board exams. They want to do UPSC and all those things, or IIT and all those things.
There
also.
the level of competition is under, it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
there. So,
Apparently it's like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was there for a year,
Yeah.
almost a year.
Yeah.
And then
How's Kota?
Kota was mad. It was everything I hoped, all the things I was dreading,
Yeah.
and even worse than that.
Oh man.
So initially, when people heard that I wanted to do medicine
Yeah.
or music and medicine,
Yeah.
people would say, hey, you can't do both.
Yeah.
Very naysayers, I call it. Like,
Yeah.
you can't do this, you can't do that,
Yeah.
sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Then came there and said, oh, you didn't make it. Why are you wasting your time?
Yeah.
That sort of stuff. Then
Yeah.
the next thing, Kota, and they were like, don't go there,
Why are you doing all these things?
First of all, it's Rajasthan. It's going to be hot. The food's not going to be what you usually eat. You're going to suffer there.
Yeah.
You're a Christian there. There's all these things and all.
Yeah.
But me as it is, I'm very stubborn as well.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm
Which
like,
is good.
I'm like, no, I want to go there.
Yeah.
Now that I've
Once you have set your mind to it,
I was like,
yeah,
I want
yeah,
to do
yeah,
that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
my parents thankfully supported me.
Yeah.
We reached there, Kota, and everything that they said kind of was true. It was hot. I could not adjust with the
Vegetarian food?
vegetarian, and more than that, the spices. So everything I was eating was coming out from the other end. I was having diarrhea almost every
Oh,
day.
man.
It was the language,
Yeah.
Hindi, of course, as we
Yeah,
speak
yeah.
a bit, but it's not what we
Yeah,
use daily. So
yeah.
that was a struggle.
Yeah.
First time moving out and
Yeah.
living alone and trying to eat from a small tiffin daba thing.
Yeah.
So so that was Kota.
Yeah. Wow.
So I nearly gave up, but like somehow I
made it
prayed and
through.
I just went.
and
through
then you
that,
appeared the
yeah.
exams again and you got through.
Yeah. Cut the long story short, yes.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That's so good. And in that time when you were in Kota, music just was in a pause.
So yes, so not really. So
Okay.
of course I could not get my keys
Keys,
with me,
yeah.
and I really tried looking for a place where I could play.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, everyone just into studies. So imagine finding a place to play.
Even thinking about it makes me feel like, what is this place?
Yeah.
Like, why is this place real?
Exactly. So I had my small iPad and
GarageBand. Let's go. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking it's probably GarageBand. I was like, GarageBand. I was like, yes.
GarageBand actually. So I'm like, that's the only thing I can do. So in my small, there's an iPad Mini as well. Small.
But that's so good. That shows how passionate you are actually. Like, you
Yeah.
don't want to let go of that, right?
Yeah. So I knew that I needed to like keep playing
Yeah,
or at least
yeah.
exercise.
And it
my,
probably helped you so much as well. Mentally,
Yeah.
I guess.
So exactly. So music. I mean, of course, studies and all of that.
Yeah.
And I'd get home and then play
Yeah.
a bit in my small iPads.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
that's how I kept.
We'll
in
get to
touch.
music, but since we're already in the Kota topic, is there any word you wanna? Again, you can just look there or look here, anything. Give to people who are in that stage where they have appeared for exams and they've not really gotten through, or just kind of word of encouragement. What got you through? Was it like even in Kota? How did it look like for you? Was it like hours and hours of studies, or did you also like balance things out? And what worked for you?
I'm pro work-life balance.
Okay, yeah,
I am against 8-12 hours of studies because I
Yeah.
can't do that. And I
Yeah,
think, I don't know, as a normal human being, it's almost impossible for me
Yeah,
at least
yeah,
to do that.
Mm.
I think in terms of encouragement or someone who is trying to, tread that
Yeah.
line, it's really important to ask, do I really want this? Now, this is a very tricky question because you really not know. If you had the answers to everything, then
Why
you will
would we
be
be?
there. It's a work in progress. You kind of learn.
Yeah.
But from deep down, and this is without your parents having to push you,
Yeah,
you need to have the thing to say that I want to do this.
yeah.
The
The
that
reason,
has to
the
come.
why.
And the why, exactly.
yeah.
And for me, that came from God as well.
yeah.
When I reached out to Him,
Yeah, yeah.
I had this surge that, let me try this again.
Yeah,
And I said, if it's not your will, then
yeah.
at least I know I've tried my best
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
can see what's there for me.
Yes.
But that conviction has to be there
Yeah.
because it's not an easy road. It's a long road. As I said, 10 years in the medicine, I still got 8 years to go.
That's crazy.
So
It's
you
wild,
need to be
bro.
patient, So having said that, you need to be more than studious or brainy. You need to be persistent, perseverant. You have to keep at it.
Yeah.
And for me, I study a few hours a day. Like
Yeah.
that's all I can do if
Yeah.
I study. That
Yeah.
is,
But that's what
like,
you did. You did your best
Yeah. So you take it one step at a
time.
time.
Yeah.
Reduce distractions, and then
And you were there for a year. You were taking coaching and stuff.
in Kota, you mean?
Yeah.
So Kota was mainly for
Coaching.
coaching.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's, I think, one time in my life where I really retrospected in a way,
Yeah.
and then looked at what my priorities in life.
Yeah.
And
And you were away. You were quiet. A little
I
distant
was
from
away.
everything.
There was nothing, to
Yeah.
distract me in a way. So when I was
Your
alone,
wilderness.
the wilderness. Yeah. When I was alone,
Yeah.
it was literally the same prayer every night,
Wow.
which was, Lord, if it's your will for a CMC,
so
like,
Yeah.
please show me how to do
Yeah.
it because I really don't know how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was one.
You're
The same
you're surrendering.
song, and the same playlist that I would listen to almost every single day, and that was it. And the only reward I gave myself was Monday to Saturday, and on Sundays also they had a few classes and all of that. So on that, what a life. But on Sunday it was like I'll treat myself to. There was a chicken dish, whatever,
Okay.
and then I will treat myself to a small movie on my, on
Wow.
the
But
thing.
that's self-discipline.
That,
That's discipline, right? No one is telling you to do this,
no
but
one
it's
is
you.
telling me to do it. But then I realized that if I've come this far and I'm taking a year off, I better like sit down and do something with my life.
Yeah.
So,
But that's
yeah.
also the leap you have to take. That's the step because you wouldn't
Very
necessarily do that here.
uncomfortable, but you need to take that leap.
Put yourself in that place where
Yeah.
you have cut everything off and like this is
Yeah.
like it's like the burning your boats thing.
Yeah. I'm making it sound very simple, but it was a struggle, honestly.
No, it looks like- it
Every
sounds like-
single day was a struggle, honestly. But
Mm.
like, there's no shortcut.
Yeah.
You have to do it.
Is Kota near Ajmer and all that? Where's Kota? How do you get to Kota?
So all I remember is you fly to Delhi,
Okay.
and then there is a few hours in Jaipur, and then I think there's Kota around
Okay.
that area.
Yeah. Okay, it's near
Yeah.
Jaipur.
Somewhere,
Right,
yeah.
Right. Okay. Would you recommend Kota to Nagas? Other Nagas?
When Kota was 11 years ago, so
Yeah.
I don't know how it's changed.
Yeah.
Those days there was there was not much to do there, so all you did was kind of sit down and study, But I think it's changed now.
Yeah.
From what I hear from people, it's changed.
Yeah.
There's a lot more distractions.
Oh,
So in other words, wherever you are, I think Kota is a place if you want to study, you can always study. But at the same time,
It's worth it if you make it worth it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. That's so good. That's so good. With that said, that happened and you were gone. You went to CMC
Vellore.
CMC Vellore.
Yeah.
Okay. How was that like? Did you pick up piano again? The keys again?
Yeah, so again, CMC happened in 2 stages
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
These days is different.
Yeah.
So sometimes people DM me, and
Yeah.
ask me how to get into CMC. I have
had
no
no
idea
idea.
now
Yeah.
because the selection process has changed.
Yeah.
But in those days, you had to get through your theory exams, and once you're qualified for that, then they call you for your interview. So you need to have the interview in CMC before they select. So they narrow down from thousands of candidates to hundreds, and then that that 100 student batch was selected. So that's what I went
Is
through.
there any reservations?
So there is the Christian
Christian,
reservation, Kota, general Kota, and all of that as well.
Yeah.
So obviously I went through the Christian Kota.
Yeah.
And then even around that time, when I got through that, people were like, oh, now it's time to give up music. This is medicine you're talking about.
It's something serious.
You
like,
know,
focus
like,
on this.
more than seriously, like, you're not going to have time. Like, now I'm in my internal medicine residency. I play music, I do music every single day, you know. But I always challenged when people say that, not in terms of words, but I always ask the question, why again? And say, why not? Why not music? Why not medicine? Why do I need to put myself in a box? You know, I want to experience both. What's wrong with that? So but somewhere in my mind, I said, okay, maybe this is it, where I can see myself like doing medicine and music might take a backseat. So first day, my parents and I, we go there and they have this function to
Orientation
kind of thing for the students.
Yeah.
We're sitting there in the auditorium, and the students come there, and then guitar, drums,
Amazing.
piano, band, and they were good. They were good.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my goodness, what have I got myself into? You know?
In a good way.
In a good way. I was like, there's so much of music.
Yeah.
And again, it reminded me that you can have plans, but when you surrender yourself to the Lord, you know, God's plans are way bigger. I didn't even expect it.
It's crazy,
You know, and for someone who failed his exams and kind of, I always say, accidentally landed up. Not accidentally now that I look at it, but I always say I'm kind of undeserving looking at the people around, you know, and I say, how, you know, I feel so undeserving to be in this place, but thank you, you know, for this opportunity. I'm so grateful.
How nice.
And so music and medicine, my musical medicine journey kind of took off from there.
How nice.
In CMC. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Tell us a little about the music aspect of CMC.
So CMC has a lot of music. The music and specifically basketball. So we have a lot of sports, a lot of arts, dance, culturals, design, what you name it.
Oh,
it's all there. Sometimes we joke and say this is not a medical college; it's an arts.
But that just shows how important those things are as well.
It is.
That, right?
It is.
Yeah, holistic.
So the first thing we were taught when we got into the college was not some boring lecture about medicine and all of that. We were given a task. We had plants and we were asked to make a garden.
Wow, how nice.
So we started digging and I was like, is this medical college or what are we doing?
Why are they making me do this?
So we did all those extracurricular activities. We were encouraged to go for all...
and that's such a jacket on, jacket off moment for people who thought medicine was only about studies and who had their whole life just in their books, no?
And I was like, oh my gosh, if I had a place I could choose, it would be this, without even realizing, you know.
Wow.
And then, like you said, music was everywhere. There was a lot of dramas, a lot of musicals, a lot of plays, a lot of competitions, music competitions, dance competitions, everywhere, almost every month. So music was always there.
And that's so important. Like, I feel that's so good because I'm pretty sure the faculty or whoever got this arrangement done, they have realized at some point that, like, I've seen a lot of doctors who do not have like communication skills and all those things, right? Like, or are timid because their whole life they've just been in their books and all those things. Nothing wrong. I'm not judging them in that way, but I also think, and then I meet someone like you, like you can talk, you can speak, you have a life, I guess. Right?
You have a life. No, that's the thing. No, especially for doctors, you say, you don't have a social life. As you go along, you get busier, but you can still make time for a lot of things. But talking about that, when you say, like, when you bury your head into books and study,
which a lot of people do.
That's great. But I always believe, and my parents always told me as well, learning should not be only within the four walls, you know?
Amazing.
Like, I've seen people struggle with, like, life in general because all you do is study. Maybe you're at the top of your class.
What does that mean?
Locked in your room, and then you get your thing, and then you're probably gone to medical school. and you can't cook a dish or clean,
Yeah.
and you don't know anything about life.
Yeah.
And these things, again, it can't be taught, or you can't see a YouTube video and start. You kind of pick
It's
it
a
up
lifestyle
along
thing,
a
right?
lifestyle
Yeah.
thing. And for a musician, it was very important for me to go out there and feel, because we always often say this, So for me to mature as a musician, to be able to express that, I need to be able to feel as well.
Wow.
So I can't do that in my room,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was always out there, very restless, and then learning.
That's so good. And I believe, where do you now? A little bit moving to the shifting gears to the music part. Where do you get your inspiration from? What I mean by inspiration is, you said you like to go out there, be restless, and all those things. Are you often are you someone who's really observant? Are you noticing things? Are your senses often there, and you're collecting information as you go ahead with life in general?
Where I get my inspiration from.
Yeah. What I mean by that is, are you the type of person who you're out for a walk and everything means something or the other, and all of those things?
It's not that dramatic. It's not. I would like it to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of walk, I love walking, and then I think that's also one way I gather information.
So it is.
In a way.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
very anti cars and all of that. I still, if I can walk, I will
walk or bike or something.
Yeah, walk or just cycle.
Yeah.
Walk or just cycle.
Yeah.
And then it gives you a whole different perspective to life.
Yeah.
And we often talk about muse, or that inspiration that you get. It can come from anywhere. Like the recent one as far as I remember, was last week. I was at work, busy, and I happened to attend this pianist, Alexis French. I don't know whether you've heard of him. Alexis French with a double F. I think musicians will know him. He's a pianist.
Yeah.
Amazing. If people are looking to get married, you can use his soundtracks. Alexis French is there.
Okay.
So I went for his concert, and then
In London?
it was in Birmingham.
In Birmingham itself? Yeah.
And then as he played through his songs, and he was sharing his life story, and he was talking about how music with purpose to give back and serve.
Yeah.
And so it can be anything, not necessarily music in itself, but someone's life story, or maybe that progression that he played that was like, ooh, I want to try that. Or it could be just a random YouTube video that I've heard somewhere, and then I'm like, oh, I want to try that. So inspiration is
Always there.
always there.
But
Inspiration with patience.
you got to
as
open
well
yourself
and all
up
that.
to that. I think it's also muscle memory, right? You're often kind of keeping yourself open to that sponge. You're a sponge and you're just absorbing, I guess.
Yeah, but I think dealing with patients every single day and so many stories,
Yeah.
it just
For a second, I forgot you were a doctor. That's why I went there.
no, yeah. So yeah, there's so much to talk about.
Yeah.
So many patients with their stories and that motivate, inspires you, breaks you in a way. So yeah.
What does a normal day in Kevin Savino's life look like in Birmingham?
Ooh. It's pretty ordinary, actually. What does my day look like? Depends on my shift. But okay, normal day. Let's see. I usually wake up around 5-ish.
Yeah.
Not too early, 5:30. And I like to do what I feel is important or hard first thing in the morning.
That type of person.
I find it's a struggle for me to get out of bed initially. But first thing, just a prayer and say thank you, God, for this day. I start off with that.
So good.
And the next thing is it's like automation, Nana.
Yeah.
So I do this, I weigh myself, and then it's like black coffee and a carb.
But are you a filter drip coffee kind of guy?
Anything at the moment, I can't be too bothered about that. I'm just trying to survive. I just need some caffeine. I love running, so depending on that day's schedule, it's either like a short, long, or the distance run or whatever.
What's short and what's long for you?
Short will be 5 to 7 kilometers, so not that far, not that long.
Yeah.
So I do that first thing in the morning.
And
if people are looking to run, it's a trick as well, because I have work, So after you have to run, kind of. So
you go distance, not time.
Huh?
You finish the distance, that's your goal, right?
No, time.
You go
time and distance.
Okay.
So time and distance. So it's like a short 30 minutes run.
Yeah. Okay.
And then
pretty fast. Decent pace.
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
30, 35, 5K. I'm still trying to improve my.
Oh, 5K. Okay, I think
5K.
it's 7K. Okay, got it.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get there
Yeah.
one day.
Yeah.
But then my second breakfast, and then that's when I do a bit of my music as well.
Oh, how nice.
So because I tried in the evenings, and then you're tired by then, you know. So it's a bit of music there.
So it's part of your routine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really put it as a routine, but I want to do
Just
it.
doing it. Yeah.
So I'm just seated and I start, you know.
And
so
what
if
time
it's,
is that?
So
roughly?
this will be around 5:30, anywhere between 6 to 7 ish.
Yeah.
By the time I come back from a run, you know.
Yeah.
So anywhere 6 to 7 ish,
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Then quick shower, and then you
Get
pack
to
your
work.
meals,
Yeah.
and then 7:30 I walk to work.
Yeah.
So 7:30 I'm out. 8 on the dot you're there for work.
All right. And how long is work? How long are your shifts?
A normal day,
Yeah.
usually you're expected to be out of the hospital by around 4 or 5 ish.
Okay.
So not too bad.
Yeah.
So once I'm done with work is hectic. It's busy.
Yeah.
You're in residency. You're running
Yeah.
like a headless chicken
Yeah.
most
What's
days.
residency for people who don't know?
So that's your postgraduate
Yeah.
training.
Yeah.
That's once you're graduated with your MBBS, and then
Yeah.
you get into what they call as a core training or postgraduate training.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing right
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
So I'm in my year 1 now.
And how long is that?
It'll be for 3 years.
Oh,
Then you
man.
super specialize for another 4 or 5 years, whatever, and it goes on. So work,
Yeah.
and then you need to study as well a bit.
Yeah. Of
And I
course.
can't do it at home. 'Cause
Constant
then,
studies, no?
I will go to sleep, or I will start playing more, you know.
Yeah.
So I drag myself to the library for a couple of hours, and then 7:30 ish
Yeah.
is when my phone. I have a reminder for everything on my phone.
Yeah, that's good.
So I'm like, oh,
You're pretty
dinner time.
organized. You're like
Kind of.
no, you're
So-
not kind of. You are organized. You're pretty disciplined.
So dinner time reminder pops out, and then I'm
Yeah.
like, oh shoot, I think I need to go home. So I walk home, and then I already meal prep for the entire week.
I was just gonna ask about the meal prep. I was gonna say, do you meal prep and stuff?
I have to,
Yeah.
you know, because I do not do takeaways.
That's good.
I do takeaways only when I reward myself a bit.
The cheat
and,
days.
Cheat days.
Yeah.
But it's meal prep, and I eat my
On
veggies.
the weekends, you meal prep everything.
Yes.
It's like
So
microwave.
Sunday evenings is meal prep. It's
Ah.
specifically Sunday evening, no?
Yeah.
So meal prep. So just get that food together,
Yeah.
eat, wind down.
Yeah.
I don't watch TV, so nothing like that.
Yeah.
Because there's more other things you can do. I feel
Yeah,
so. Maybe quick browse in social media or something like that.
Yeah.
Bit of YouTube videos for inspiration.
Yeah.
And
What does Kevin Savino watch? What do you watch on YouTube?
what do I watch on YouTube? Oh, good question. Like all these things, like podcasts.
Yeah.
You know, all those Naga channels.
Okay. Because
That's
Hi,
way
Koko.
you. Hi. That's how you connect
Yeah.
to home, right? Because
Yeah.
by then everyone's asleep here.
Yeah.
The time
4 hours,
difference.
4.5 hours.
I think it's 5 and a half.
Do you guys follow DST? The
DST.
daylight savings.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's so wild.
Yeah. So it's always I need to remind myself, no, because when I'm off work,
Yeah.
I can't call parents because they're fast asleep.
Yeah.
You know.
And the daylight savings shifts everything, right? Because you're an
Yeah.
hour ahead or an hour behind.
hour ahead. I think
Yeah.
it changes in March or something.
March 9th or something.
Yeah, something like that.
I take
Like,
online classes.
Huh?
I take online classes.
Okay,
I'm still
so
in school.
you're
I'm still in my
familiar.
American, like I go Atlanta.
Oh.
So it's like 3 a.m. and
Okay,
stuff.
Yeah.
When daylight savings happens, I'm like, so it happens in March and it usually happens in October or November, right?
It's around October, November.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it always happens. I go like an hour early. I'm waiting in the Zoom. I'm like,
Nah,
why is
it's a
no one
damn
here?
thing.
What's happening? And like,
Yeah.
attendance is so important. So then I'm like, wait, I'm emailing my professors and stuff like that. I realize, oh, daylight savings. And then like in March, I'm an hour late to the
Yeah,
class because
yeah.
like, yeah.
So something like that. So that's how I connect with home as well.
Yeah.
You know, but obviously, again, music channels, obviously.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
anything from The Voice to Britain's Got Talent
How nice.
to random musicians that I follow,
Yeah.
jazz and all of that.
Which Naga channels are you watching?
Right now,
Yeah.
Munguli Sangtam
Eh.
podcast.
nice.
I was forced to say that. That's a joke again. That's a joke. So,
We'll bleep that part out.
please do, yeah. So anything I love, of course, Alabo Nagazi, who is AWOL for a long time.
Yeah.
Dreams
Unlimited?
Dreams
They're right here.
Unlimited. Oh, really?
Like, they started from IUMT,
Okay. Oh,
this church.
okay.
Yeah.
So nice. Vlogs in a way, not too much.
Yeah,
Vlogs in a way here and there.
Yeah.
Like my, friends, family, they keep talking about it, and then that, but like not too many
Yeah.
vlogs. Musicians, whenever here
They
and there
release songs and
they
stuff.
post and all, I'm always like out
Yeah.
in the hunt,
Yeah.
trying to hear what's the new fresh thing happening,
Nice.
all of that. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. With that said, when we were talking about schedules, and you seem like someone who's pretty, like you said, you say you're kind of organized, but you seem pretty organized, and very disciplined as well, right? Again, with you're doing 5-7K runs every morning, and you're
Not every morning.
you're
It's like
waking up-
every alternate.
But like, what time are you waking up? 4 at this point?
Huh?
You're waking up at 4 or something?
5. I don't think I can do. So yeah, by then 8, by 9:30 my body shuts down. I need at least
Yeah.
7 hours of sleep. Yeah.
That's good.
So
That's
by
good.
10 I'm like in dream world.
Nice.
Most
nice.
days,
Yeah.
unless I'm up for work.
Yeah.
So 10, 11. Yeah. So
Okay,
it's about
nice.
7 hours. Yeah.
All right. So with that said, how intentional are you with your alone time with God, prayer time, and all of those things, and like Bible, reading the Bible and stuff like that?
So again, like I said, I do it in the mornings.
Yeah.
In the mornings before like.
Just the prayer when you wake up, as soon as you wake up.
The busy schedule
Yeah.
gets to you.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, this is like you said, a typical day.
Yeah.
But depending on my shifts, depending on work timing, and I'm a human after all.
Yeah.
I can't do it every single day.
Yeah.
Sometimes I barely just
Yeah, of course.
wake up to get
Yeah.
to work.
Yeah.
So, but I always, now that you mentioned, I always find time
Yeah.
to say a prayer and to read, even if it's a short verse,
Yeah.
even at work.
Yeah.
Sometimes it could be just 5 minutes,
Yeah.
but you're there
Yeah.
and you're like, okay.
Were you consuming U version?
So U version,
Yeah, yeah,
okay. So that is the easiest way to access at the moment. So just that time, even if it's that 5-10 minutes,
Yeah.
or mornings I have more time.
Mm-hmm.
But depending on my shifts, if I'm a night shift, it's like 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. So I need to figure out some time. But yeah,
Yeah.
can be any time.
We'll get to we'll take
Wait,
it
wait.
light.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take it light. We'll get to
It
the
was
serious
getting
stuff
too
in a while.
intense. Yeah, but
Yeah. A little bit more about your life. Yeah. What do you what's been fun lately for you? What have you been like? What's been fun?
You're asking the wrong person.
Really?
I don't have a life in a way, but yeah, that's what I usually do. What my routine is.
Yeah.
If I'm not working in the weekends, then Saturdays, Sundays, I like to detach from work.
Yeah.
Obviously, Saturdays I do all my, because I'm living alone. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Saturdays my grocery shopping day.
Yeah.
So get that done.
Yeah.
Again, I like to explore areas, so it'll be a very spontaneous trip there, trip
Same.
here,
Yeah.
and then like I said, I'm a huge United fan.
Yeah.
So
How far is Birmingham from London? From Manchester, sorry.
2.5 hours?
Oh,
So
train?
not too far. Train, not too far.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So yeah, I've gone for the matches as well. Old
Yeah,
Trafford,
yeah.
just go there.
What's been
experience
what's
that.
been the best live experience for you? Best match?
Best match.
Yeah.
Difficult in this situation that our team is in. But I think the first time I went to Old Trafford,
Old
I'll never
Trafford.
forget that feeling.
Yeah.
It was the second day I landed
Oh, you went
in
straight.
the UK. That's I
the
always
first
say
thing you
if I
wanted.
get to, if I somehow
Yeah.
land the UK, the first thing I'm going to do is go and
Nice.
visit Old Trafford and enjoy one of the games.
How did you end up in Birmingham though?
It's a training thing. They offered me a post there.
Like a placement kind of a
Placement,
thing.
yeah.
And then so your PG was done in?
That's my PG.
Oh,
I'm
you
doing
did
my
your PG there after your
I'm
exams.
doing my PG now here.
Oh.
So I had to go through all the process, the
Yeah,
exams,
yeah,
the
yeah.
interviews, and
Yeah,
all of that
yeah.
to get.
Oh
offered
yeah,
the
medical is not. It's less of your choice, but more dependent on your marks.
Yeah,
Right.
marks, interview scores, and all of that.
And they place you based on all of those
Your
things.
place, yeah.
How's best thing about Birmingham? The factory town or something? No, but now it's different. I think.
No, you have the famed jewelry quarter, and it's a very historical
Yeah.
place in many ways. I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah.
But it's a multicultural.
Yeah.
A lot of Indians moving around.
Pakistanis also?
Pakistanis. different Asians from all over the
Yeah.
world, and
Yeah.
obviously Brits as well. And
Yeah.
so
Obviously.
yeah, obviously, yeah.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah, food and all of that.
Do you miss the
know,
sun?
I do. The first thing I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to a place where there's sun now,
Yeah.
because it's usually always like gloomy. You do
Yeah.
have your sun sometime, but
Yeah.
like most days it's just gloomy or it'd be raining depending on the
Yeah.
day. So,
Yeah. How far is the commute from your place to your work? And how do you commute?
On foot, just about 20 minutes on foot.
20 minutes walk.
Yeah, walk. It's not too far, 15,
that's nice.
20 minutes.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So you're pretty intentional about all these things, like you're just walking around and stuff like that.
Yeah, 15, 20 minutes. Why on earth would I want to get a car?
I go to Sanan's house. I go to my cousin's house with my car.
Really?
That's like a 2-minute walk.
No.
I take the longer gari rasta to go there with the car.
Yeah, no, it's just 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's a nice time for me to.
But it's a
move
very
bit as
city
well.
thing as well, especially when you're outside. Like you walk more.
Exactly.
Yeah, like here, like especially again, if there is public transport, and all, especially like again, like I said, when I was in Hong Kong, like public transport is the most efficient.
Yep.
So it's like just walking all the time.
Yeah.
And then to your point, it feels like 20-minute walking is nothing there. Like in Nagaland, 20-minute walking, you reach town, but no one will walk to town.
Yeah.
You get it?
Yeah.
If I ask Bodevi to come from his place, Nagaland right there, 20 minutes lower. But now he would have need thing where nah, the gari right, you know.
yeah.
See,
It
that's
was,
what I'm
yeah.
saying. So it's just more of
Yeah.
like the
It's more of that thing.
yeah. yeah.
But I walk whenever I can.
That's good.
So,
That's
yeah.
good. That's good. Yeah. So we were talking about God. You said you don't want to limit your time with God and all those things. So you want to share a little bit about that? Just
So, yeah, in its purest form, I think my relationship with God,
Yeah.
and I think I shared this in Prism as well.
Yeah.
For someone like me, and like I said, I'm really stubborn,
Yeah.
and I've had this ups and downs in my lives as well. And all through that time when I first did not know what to do,
Yeah.
and when I was questioning what I want to do with my life,
Yeah.
and when I rededicated myself to God and said, Lord, I don't know what to do. Please take the wheel and show me
Yeah.
the way,
Yeah.
And as life moved on, especially with medical college and all of that,
Yeah.
he was always there. But again, as time went on with all the things,
Yeah.
with the hustle and bustle around,
Yeah.
you kind of put God in the back seat.
Yeah.
Because again, I don't want to pretend and be like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I've been super there.
Yeah.
Because it's been a journey for me as well.
Yeah.
You know, all the while up till now, and I was sharing this again, like how when I had this question mark again
Yeah.
to do what I was going to do with my life post my graduation,
Yeah.
in terms of my post graduation,
Yeah,
internal
yeah.
medicine and
Yeah,
all of
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Again,
yeah.
that was it didn't come in one day. There had to be a lot of thinking and planning and praying as well.
Yeah.
And I realized that somewhere down the line, I was drifting away. And in today's world, when we are all about me, myself, and I,
Yeah.
like hustle culture, and then like take care of yourself, me, myself,
Yeah,
look at
yeah,
me,
yeah.
that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's very easy, especially as a youngster,
Yeah.
to kind of be consumed by that
Yeah.
with the social media around
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
feel that you can do it all on your own.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I've tried that. I've
Yeah.
tried it again and again and again.
Yeah.
And you feel like you're moving ahead,
Yeah.
but you reach this roadblock again.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do again?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And I think, again, the second time I was telling myself, this is like second CMC all over again, where I just did not know
Yeah.
what to do.
Yeah.
And it's pretty funny because, like, even after I'd given my interviews and I was waiting for my results, not knowing what's going to happen, and low-key frustrated as well.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
and I still remember that day very vividly because I was in Calcutta for a course or something like that.
Yeah.
And I had flown back. I'm based in Guwahati
Yeah.
for quite some time.
Oh,
I
really?
forgot to tell you about this.
Okay.
I worked for 2.5 years in Guwahati after my graduation.
After
Yeah,
CMC. CMC. Yeah.
So I was there.
Yeah.
So my Guwahati home,
Yeah.
I was there that same night.
Yeah.
as I was in bed, and then I was reading what was that, Isaiah chapter 30 verses 40 and 41.
Okay.
If I remember, it's like something like, even youths grow tired and weary,
Uh-huh.
and young men stumble and fall.
Yeah.
But those who place their hope in the Lord
Will not grow weary.
Will not grow weary. They will
mount on wings.
they will soar on wings like eagles.
Yeah.
Something in that,
Yeah.
on those lines.
Yeah.
And that same night, I said, God, you know, like, you've always been there, but I again, like, I just don't know what I'm doing again.
Yeah.
You know, please, because I feel like I've reached a roadblock
Yeah.
again where I don't know how to go ahead.
Yeah.
The next day I go to work, and to cut the long story short, as I was walking home,
Yeah.
and I was already thinking, because I like to
Yeah.
organize a lot.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
got all these like
Yeah.
different set lists
Yeah,
and
yeah,
calendars and all of that.
Yeah.
So I was
You've
already
optimized
planning.
everything.
I was already planning. I was like, oh my gosh, if this doesn't work out, then I need to
Plan
start
B,
like
yeah.
mailing this. And I was actually planning to do that.
Yeah.
So I was walking home, and I get a notification on my phone saying you've been offered a post
Wow.
on this next day.
That you prayed. That you
That I-
surrendered, actually.
Yeah, that
You
I
tried
surrendered.
everything on your own, and then the moment you're like, God, do it, he
You
actually
know?
was there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when someone looks at my life, it's not like super righteous or been always there, but to see that, you know, I've tried it, I've fallen down so many
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
But let me tell you that you can try it all on your own,
Yeah.
but it never works. You think
Yeah.
you're going there, but you reach a roadblock when you
Yeah.
do it on your own.
Yeah.
And with the me myself culture, it's great, but you know, you reach a roadblock.
Yeah.
And that's when you realize that, you know, like, there is someone above, there's God, there's
Yeah.
this, you know, that
Yeah.
just holds you and says, you know, come.
Yeah. A good
Let's
father.
go.
He's a good father.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's
Exactly.
like literally like a good father. Like yesterday we had Ri Mongson Pom. He's a photographer.
Mm-hmm.
He's also part of the Lighthouse Church. Amazing testimony. He's a father as well. He was talking about it, like being a father allows him to now see God in a whole different way, like the Heavenly Father, and he sees like, or sometimes he just lets the son do certain things, go here and there. Though it's like, well, he'll just do it, but then like when he comes to him, he'll show him the right way,
Yeah.
kind of a thing, right? Like so on that same note, to your point, it's not because of us, but because of him. Like
Exactly.
and again, and you said we you're not the most righteous and all those things. None of us are. That's the truth, right? Like
Yeah.
the truth is, we'll never be able to do everything right, and like there's no way that we'll have, like, we can never work to get his righteousness. We'll always fall short. That's the whole premise of him coming down
Yeah.
for us, right? Like there's not one thing we can do more to be more righteous. There's no 100 things that we can do more to be more righteous. But the hack that we have as Christians is we can just turn to him,
Yep.
right? And yeah, that's so good, such a good story. Yeah, but yeah, a little bit more about that, I guess. Like, how has your faith grow? Like, of course, one doesn't get to a place where you're. See, it may seem like it's normal to go just like find God like that, but like, of course, it's normal. What I mean to say is like, the fact that you even went to God. Right, that shows that you had a relationship with him and all those things, right? Like, of course, if I ask you today, have you grown in faith? I think the answer would be yes, in some sort of way, even if it's not exponential, right? How has your faith journey been, and how has that growth been? That's something I wanted to ask.
So, in terms of my faith journey,
Yeah, yeah.
especially now that I reflect on it,
Yeah,
and I keep saying this to myself, obviously, you know, when I encounter, and now it speaks even more volumes, because day in and day out, as I work with a lot of patients
yeah,
and their families
Yeah.
and their lives,
yeah,
some are inspiring, some really breaks you down as well,
yeah,
you know, and unfortunately some people don't make it. And when you come home from something like that,
yeah,
and then there are a lot of questions.
yeah,
There are a lot of questions that I sometimes stay awake and ask, why God?
yeah,
You know? Like, I remember this time when I was in my mission hospital, that 2.5 years when I was based in Guwahati.
Yeah.
And the patients that would come in was not really well off.
Yeah.
All they had was just enough probably for the admission and
Yeah.
1 or 2 days of treatment
Yeah.
with a very serious sickness.
Yeah.
And you see families walk in and say, in Indian, the healthcare system is different. So once you know you're going to get admitted, the next question is fees. How much is it going to cost? You know, that's the everyone's question. And seeing families like that in day one being able to eat their own meals, and by day 2, 3, their meals come down to maybe 1 or 2 rotis.
Oh man.
And by the end of the day, you know, they're sharing a biscuit just so that they can get treated.
Yeah.
And there have been so many times that I've gone home and I've said, why? Again, the question, why?
Yeah.
Why do people have to suffer,
Go through this. Yeah.
go through this? And then I look at my life again.
Yeah.
What have I done that I can sit here and, you know, in a way, be blessed or enjoy whatever I'm enjoying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was one thing that has always brought me back and kept me grounded as well, to be able, and I'm talking about my medicine journey now. Music, again, it's always been there and it's grounded me as well. But all these experiences lately in the last few years, you know, for those experiences to bring you back down to earth. And then you realize there's so much to be thankful for.
Yeah.
The art of gratitude.
Yeah.
I know this is something very sad, but just recently, you know, December 31st, I was working.
Yeah.
Christmas, I was working. Christmas Eve, 26th, I was working.
Yeah.
I was on call as well. So I had all these pages and bleeps, you know, you get with the crash call and all of that.
Yeah.
So on the 31st of December, just recently, I was on my shift, and then there was this lady who had walked in just a few days before that. Complaint was maybe just a bit of numbness in the right hand, fever, that's it. Seemed like a very simple thing, you know, and just brush off. And then we went on to do her investigations, and we did a scan of her head because she had some issues there and all of that. On the 31st, I'm the one like sitting on the screen, and the results pop out, and then we find, and she was a young patient. She was in her 30s, recently delivered, young married couple, you know. Baby was less than a year old. And then the information is out there, and it's like multiple lesions. Basically what it meant was there was cancer in the brain. Then she had an ultrasound of her tummy as well, kidneys, and that showed cancer as well. In a very young age, no? And I'm seated there and I'm like, oh my gosh, how do I say this to someone? We had to do a full body scanning, and we found that there was cancer in the lungs as well. Unfortunately, after 1-2 weeks, she did pass away. And again, I'm sure giving you like small story, sharing small stories here and there. But the family came up and they said, thank you for your help. And when you go home with that, and I sit down sometimes and I say like, what have I done to deserve this, you know, that I am able to sit, eat. And I always question like, what is success? What is success? You know, people always talk about success in our today's day and life. And I say, success to me is not about reaching somewhere academics-wise. But today I got to see the sunrise, to be able to eat, to be able to breathe without pain in my body. You know?
Yeah.
And to be thankful and grateful for that.
Yeah.
And to say, Lord, thank you. Yeah. And time again, you know, through all these experiences, God kind of brings me down and says, you know, through all these stories and
you see him.
Experiences.
Yeah.
And I sit down and say, I think I keep posting at least one in my 10 stories will always be there's so much to be thankful for. You know? And that's again coming back to the point, like you can have so many plans, but God's plan is always bigger than what you can think of. I don't know what's going to happen in another 5-10 years, but again, coming back to the question in terms of faith, every day you seek God more, and you want to seek Him more, and say, I can say for a fact with confidence that I could not have done this on my own. Like, imagine someone growing up playing marbles, Naksingan Inagrina, and then.
That's been very iconic for you, no?
Very iconic.
Yeah,
It's a very Naksingan. So, someone to from there, and then I say there's nothing. People say, oh, gifted and all of that, but I had to put in the hard work or whatever it is. Today I'm not here in a place like saying, oh, I'm successful or anything like that. But more than that, it's more of grateful. Being grateful. So right from that time as a small kid, saying, oh God, I don't know what to do with my life. Please show me the way. Then, it still holds true till today. It's a working relationship, just like any other relationship.
So good.
But that keeps me grounded. Even with all the hustle bustle that's going around. And it's very easy to get hooked into that and sucked into those things with social media and all of that. To be able to sit down and say, experience all of those things. And say thank you.
I'm reminded of just, I mean, one can clearly see as you're sharing these stories, like God's hand upon your life, in the way, just there's favor. There's so much favor in the way you've shared since the beginning, your whole journey. There's so much favor, and you can just see in the way you're leading as well. You're also, I really believe you're stewarding it as well, in the way you've shared your daily life and all these things. I really believe you're doing it so well. And I was listening to Billy Graham yesterday, and he was talking about there was this phrase. He was dangerously anointed. Dangerous for the enemy, right? Dangerously anointed. Like David was dangerously anointed. It shook the kingdom of darkness. And I really believe the way you are leading your life as well. I really believe like there is something in you, and it was always there, I believe. And your mom and dad could see it in that young age when you did the shadow playing in the church and all those things as well. What's on your mind?
No, I mean, it's crazy because now when we're home and then we have our prayer meeting, and then we usually have this chat post prayer meeting about everything else going around, and then we often laugh and talk about how our childhood and then things like that, and we keep saying, who would have thought?
Exactly.
Exactly. Who would have thought? And again, it could have just been that decision that I said, no, maybe this, and my life would have ended up completely different. And then I can say, you and I, or anyone here, that God has a specific plan and a purpose for all of us. And time and time again, He somehow manages to show us that in so many ways, And for me, especially in my field as well. And that helps me in my music as well, surprisingly, because I go with all these stories. And the first thing I want to do when I go home is play. So I don't even change. I'm in my scrubs, and then I'm like playing for an hour or two sometimes, you know. So
and that's worship, no?
Exactly.
And that's worship.
Yeah. So music again, like I was saying about Alexis French, how he said music with purpose, And I think coming back to music and medicine, there was a big question I need to ask myself then. What do I want to do with music when I was doing all those things? And I said, do I want to take this up professionally? Do I see myself up on stage and playing? Or what do I really want to do? And when I really sat down and prayed about it, it was the time I spent in church or serving people with my music then. That's all I knew.
Wow.
That was the happiest I felt. There'd be 101 things going on, but we were like, Kevin, for this, and I would run for it. Sometimes I look at it and be like, oh, everywhere, yes, but I don't know, somewhere I was like, I want to do it. And I knew then that I don't know what I'm going to end up doing, but I want to serve. I want to give back somewhere the other. And that's when, that was kind of a turning point for me to say, okay, for music, I want to use it in that way. and God has been so gracious to have, that even till today I'm being able to use the gift that He has given me. And again, it doesn't come from a place of like I've achieved something or anything.
Yeah.
Most days I'm just on my own, just playing.
Yeah.
But now that I look at it in terms of worship as well,
Yeah.
just that song, just the other day I was in my grandma's place and then was playing a couple of hymns and all of that.
Yeah.
And first of all, it stress bustery ho jai na.
Yeah, of course.
But music with purpose, music as worship, again, it does so much. Like it for me at least. When I say de-stress, anything else, it just takes it takes the weight out of your shoulders.
Yeah.
And more importantly, music has always brought me closer to God.
Yeah.
Without music, I don't know what I will be doing, honestly.
Yeah. You see throughout the Bible.
Yeah.
You see David.
Mm-hmm.
You see throughout the Bible, and there's a reason why you see throughout the Bible as well, right?
Yeah.
And there's also a reason why I've always said creativity transcends.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one can tell you something emotional, but the moment you hear "Kiss the Rain," you're like,
Exactly. Oh my gosh,
and there's a certain it reaches parts of your heart that words cannot, right?
Exactly.
Same way with art, any sort of art form, and that's why I believe creativity transcends, and we're made in His image.
Mm-hmm.
He is a creator Himself,
Amen. Yeah.
right? And if we are able to just create from that place, we're honoring Him, and we're actually doing what He made us for. Right? And I'm going a little deep into this, but like you see it in every way, in everything when it comes to creating, like go forth and multiply. That's creation in itself. That's a power that we have from Him, right? And I think the enemy comes to distort that. The enemy comes to disrupt all of those things. With that said, when you mentioned serving and giving, you do seem like someone who's genuinely satisfied and with where you are as well, right? Like,
Do I?
Yeah, I mean the way you're sharing as well. Like you're quite, to your point, you're grounded and you're content. I'm going somewhere with this because I was listening to Vlad, Koko, and I talked about Vlad. You know Vlad, the pastor Vlad.
Maybe if I see his face, yeah.
You will definitely know it if you see his face.
Yeah. Not good with
Like
names.
he is first generation Russian immigrant kind of a thing, but he's a pastor. He's very straight from the word. No smokes and lights and all those things. He was talking about from the book of John, the 3 deadly sins, like 3 worst kind of sins based on a certain verse. I forget, but he was talking about like greed, lust, and pride being the worst sins, right? Pride out of the 7 deadly sins kind of a thing, but greed, lust, and pride is what the enemy uses often in us. And the way to combat those 3, he was very practical. And he's very practical. He was talking about how you combat lust is through fasting, lust of the flesh, right? So it starts with basic things like food. Then you're able to now take control of your flesh, and you're able to say no to not just food but any other thing that tempts your flesh, right? Pride, how you deal with pride and how you combat pride is praying, because what you just shared, you shared that the whole time. If you want to condense it down, it's you're depending on yourself. You are controlling everything yourself. The moment you go, I'm going to surrender this to prayer. It takes away that pride, right? And finally, greed. How you combat greed is by giving. Giving, in other words, is serving. And the moment you do that, you stop striving. I genuinely believe the moment you're able to get to a place of just serving and positioning yourself to give, you start thinking, wait, what was I even aiming for here? Like, this is so much better. And it's in the world's eye, it may seem foolish. Right? It may seem foolish to give the 2 copper coins when that's the last thing that you have, right? And then the biggest mansion is like what the world may be like. Looking like, if you have the biggest mansion, the world may be like, oh, that's rich, that's nice, and all this thing. And a lot of people may be tempted to do that. But wait, the actual fulfillment that you might have is actually helping the poor, and that's the whole, like we see throughout the scripture as well, right? But just kind of like aiding to what you shared, I can just see so much of, just if you do it intentionally or unintentionally as well, but just God leading through every single thing you shared from your daily schedule. Like you can just see that is something that there's fruit. There's fruit, right?
I'm trying,
Yeah. Yeah.
like I'm praying about it. Like I guess I'm not perfect.
Yeah. None of
Like,
us
I
are.
do, we do struggle. Like I said,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
my life can get really busy and overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah.
And even though sometimes it may like, oh, I've got everything figured out,
Yeah.
it's not the case sometimes as well.
Yeah.
And then again, that makes us human in a way as well.
Yeah.
And a big reminder that, again, like I said, like can't do it alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the thing.
Yeah.
Even though people look at me and say, "Oh, you're really organized. You seem like you've figured out life and
Yeah.
what to do with it."
Yeah. But that's favor again.
yeah.
People see that.
Mm.
It's favor. No, that's
Yeah.
genuinely favor. Like, I'm pretty sure you've had that in just your interviews you talked about.
Mm.
It's favor. Like, that panel has been set up by God for you before you even
Yeah.
enter the room, kind of a
So,
thing.
yeah.
Right? Yeah. And we just move differently again when you have that. It's not us. Our disqualifications qualify him
Yeah.
to come in, right?
Sure,
Yeah. I genuinely want to hear about the. You want some refill? Hey,
Yeah.
please.
Sure.
What can you give me? No worries.
So we finished the entire thing. That I'm good. Thanks.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks.
Where was I? Yeah, I really like. Again, up to you if you want to share or not. But I've heard a lot of testimonials of your sharing in Prism last year about the 2 copper coins, and I really want to hear a little bit about that. Do you want to share a little bit, if you're comfortable, if you want to?
Yeah, I mean,
You
let me
can
try
pull up.
to.
You can pull up whatever you want. There's a physical Bible as well, if that's something you prefer.
Yeah, no, I just
The
want to
tactile
get
nature
the.
of-
I just want to get the.
Yeah. While he's
for
doing
sure,
that, sure.
yeah. It will be in my. How's the internet here?
Oh, I've been getting a lot of flack for that.
Is it?
Everyone here is like, the internet is Koko. Do you want me to look for something?
No, my iPad to type on
Oh.
I think it's in my bag.
Can you bring the bag?
Sorry, no, I want that line
That's good. How long are we on?
Yeah.
1:34. Nice.
We've been talking
We'll see. We'll see.
Like, oh my gosh.
Koko, how are you finding it? Iman busy dikhi ase. Maybe Koko is as a. Only Iman busy dikhi ase. Huh?
Yeah.
What's you good?
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. So this was one of the quotes that I came across, and I think this was shared by Nurhe, the violinist.
No, okay.
Emotive strings, yeah.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, this was penned by Visashe
Okay.
Kevichusa.
Yeah.
So as I don't know how I stumbled on
Across this,
on this, across this one. But it was, I think, during the time when it was well before my Prism sharing as well.
Yeah.
But around that time, and it read something like this, and it said, so if I have to let go of the little I have, my only 2 copper coins, teach me to let it go.
Wow.
And it goes on further to say, for your love has taught me to sacrifice a gift is better than the actual sum total of the gift itself.
Wow.
So here we are, Heavenly Father, your sons and your daughters. Teach us to serve so we may give with all our hearts. And I mean, of course, this podcast will run forever then, but like just that line of, if I have to let go of little that I have, I think we all have our 2 copper coins or things that we hold
Just
on to
Yeah.
dearly. For everyone, that could be something else. And for me, I don't know. people may, for them it would be their qualifications, maybe their wealth, whatever it is,
Yeah.
their fame, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And in my life reflection, I always say, if I do not do music and medicine, I don't know what else I'll be doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean to say? And
Yeah.
beyond that as well, like so many things that also, like the worldly things that distracts you from day-to-day
Yeah.
life, you know? We all want something or the other.
Yeah.
And it's just too much to comprehend and put it in one something.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
all of those things translate into our 2 copper coins. You know,
Yeah.
if I have to let it go,
Yeah.
very easy to say it, take it, but and then this is something that this is a story you all know about the 2 copper coins. I always think, you know,
Isn't Mark and Luke?
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
We'll
kininga,
put in the screen there, Hideo.
yeah, oh, okay, good, yeah. So, kininga, what did it mean then?
Yeah.
You know, but now that you growing up hearing this Sunday school story,
Mhm.
almost reading about it, you know, and now that you see it from a different perspective, and I say, oh my goodness, there are a lot of things that you just don't want to leave as well,
Mm.
you know,
So many.
so many
Yeah.
things for so many of us as well.
Yeah.
And if I have to let that go, if today everything
It's gone.
is gone,
Yeah.
music way or medicine, whatever is,
Yeah.
you know, that God has blessed me with
Yeah.
in a way, then will I still be here to serve or give back or say that, oh my gosh, I'm thankful and I'm grateful?
Yeah.
What is my identity if not for this inauguration? So it's something that really touched me and also kind of reminded me
Yeah.
why I do all of this or why I'm doing this in the
Yeah.
first place.
Yeah.
No matter wherever I'm placed,
Yeah.
to serve Him again. You know, as
Yeah.
it says, like, teach us to serve and give it all our hearts.
Yeah.
And that's why, again, echoing what my grandfather
Wow.
said, you know, and it just, like I said, like, I didn't understand it then,
Yeah.
but it says, like, again, I'm just going to say it again, but like, it may not be at the mountain's heights or the stormy seas. It may not be at the battle's front my Lord will have need
Wow.
for me. I'll go wherever you want me to go, you know? And
Wow.
at this juncture in my life,
Yeah.
you know?
What? Sorry.
It's
My
okay.
clients. This is my clients. Actually, my
okay.
client. My laptop. How do I do this? How do I do
I think
like
it's
this? But
the...
it's on my phone.
No, it's on your laptop
No,
behind.
but it's like connected, so I'll just have to decline
Okay.
from here. Okay. Sorry, I'm just.
That's all right. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
So even at this juncture, as I question and say,
Yeah.
what next now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Always that curious kid that said, why?
Yeah.
Why this? Why
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
You know, I know that wherever I'm placed, you know, like, it's not one
Even in
thing
the
I can...
even in the most mundane.
yeah,
honestly,
I can't point it in
Yeah.
like and say do
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I know whatever it is, to serve,
Yeah.
to
yeah.
to
Yeah.
give back. I think it's Proverbs 16:3.
Yeah.
Commit into the Lord, and He will establish your
Yes.
plans.
Yes,
you know, and
yes.
something in that line. So things like that, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we can go on and on about this,
Yeah.
but like, it's just a sense of like gratitude.
Mm.
If I have to like summarize in just one word,
Yeah.
there's so many things that I can't even comprehend, and to say thank you,
Yeah.
you
And
know.
When you shared about the thing your grandfather wrote to you, the hymn, essentially, not in the most dramatic or the most again, not in the battlefront, not in the most like kind of again dramatic ways, but in the most simplest of things.
Mhm.
That also shows how we have to surrender every aspect of our life,
Mhm.
and also be doing every little thing unto Him,
Yep.
right? Because in the smallest, because what may mean nothing for us could mean the world to someone else.
Yeah, that's exactly. You know, there's a quote. I always keep saying this. Okay,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
when you help someone,
yeah,
you may not change the world, but it'll change that
person.
person's
Yeah.
world, you know.
And I always say you're the closest someone can ever get to the Bible sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The way you live, the way you move, the way you are.
Yeah.
I talked about this in the previous podcast as well. Like, my dad never sat me down and taught me how to live.
Mm.
He never like told me with words like do this, do that. He lived and I lived.
Yeah.
I learned by watching him live. So again, essentially actions speak louder than words kind of a thing, right? But sometimes you don't really have to speak or do much. Just you being.
Yeah.
But that's why we have to let him reach and touch every bit of us.
Yeah.
Right? Because in the littlest of things, it could change someone else's life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's crazy. You don't even realize it, you know.
Yeah.
In so many ways. Now that you mentioned that, sometimes when I'm the Birmingham's train station is called New Street Station,
Yeah.
and there was a piano there.
Yeah.
So every time I pass through that station, I'm like, oh my goodness, I'll take 20 minutes to play something, you know, obviously. So I remember this time where it was a very busy day, and then I had to take the train to get home.
Yeah.
And every time I have to pass through that, I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit down for some time and play a few tunes.
Yeah.
And most days it's usually some of my compositions or some hymnals or whatever contemporary music.
Yeah.
And that day I played a bit of the hymnals and then some of my compositions and all.
Yeah.
And I remember this guy that had walked up to me, and he was quite shabbily dressed as well. And he said, like, I'm having a really hard day, but thank you for playing.
Yeah.
You know, thank you for playing. It's really helped me.
Yeah.
And that doesn't come from a place of like me saying, oh, look at me, I'm so good at what I do. Nothing like that.
Yeah.
But again, it just resonates, and just to re-emphasize and say, you know, how music also can help, you know.
And that's something which we talk about often, about God being an orchestrator, right? And we've shared this once in the recent panel talk we had once. We do like this thing called Love, Life, Liberty, where we have these events like across colleges. So that's where I was sharing about God being an orchestrator, right? And he nudges. So essentially, this whole illustration is in an orchestra, which you know pretty well because you're in music. Like there are these multiple. Now I'm very conscious of the terms I use because
It's okay.
there are multiple instruments. There are so many people, right? Now, and this came to me a couple of years ago as I was praying and all that. There are multiple instruments. There are so many people in there, and there's a conductor. I think he's called conductor, the guy who's doing the hand thing, right? And that's essentially signaling everyone to do something or the other with their own instruments, right? So now, when you play the key, someone plays a certain other instrument. You out of like a 40-man orchestra, not playing will not really change much of the whole ensemble, but you adding that adds certain bit more to the whole thing, right? How I take that in this way of like how God spoke to me was, God nudges each and every one of us, and we're just individual members in this orchestra.
Yeah.
And God is signaling each and every one of us to do one thing, which again, if we don't do, will not change the whole world much. But when we do it, the way we beautifully, harmonize with someone else's life, it just makes it much better. Right? And he often nudges us all the time. We just have to be obedient.
Yeah.
There are two things. We just have to first learn to recognize, amidst all the noise, learn to recognize his voice.
Yeah.
And that's through his word, through praying, through this relationship that we build. Like a mother and child, right? And we're able to just discern and hear his voice everywhere. Because his voice is everywhere. Creation is everywhere, right? But we're able to hear his voice amidst so much noise that is in the world.
Yeah.
That's how we hear him. And the second part is obedience. That's saying yes to what he has told us to do. And on the other side of that obedience, this is beautifully said by Preston Morrison. I highly recommend you watch him. You know Preston Morrison?
I don't think so.
He's a bald guy, preacher. Okay. I can share it to you. But he beautifully puts this, he says, obedience always leads to favor and freedom. Not just for the other person,
Yeah.
but even for you.
Exactly.
Again, in the littlest of things. And God throughout our day is nudging us. Everything is a decision,
Everything,
honestly. Right?
True, yeah.
From the most mundane things, it is a decision. Turning on your tap full or half is also a decision. It's just that it has become subconscious over time.
Exactly, yeah.
Right? But
Yeah.
it's something that we're wired, we're built over time, but it's still a decision.
Yep.
You can always change it. There's something on your mind. I can see it in your eyes.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, that's it. I was done with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just, processing, reflecting. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Pretty intense, though.
Anything you guys want to ask? You guys want to talk about? Before we wrap it up, I've one or two last things and we can wrap it up. Yeah. Your favorite Bible verse?
Favorite Bible verse?
Yeah. Or something that has just been like very, like something that has stood out a lot in the season, or just favorite all time?
I think so many to choose from, no?
Yeah.
But like,
Okay,
I
you
think
can say multiple. Yeah.
No, so I think one verse that I've always come back to again and again is Jeremiah 29:11. I know people say about it and all of that, but like,
There's a reason why people say it all.
there's a reason why people say it all of the time. Previously, it was you say John 3:16 and all of that, Sunday school and all of that. But I think Jeremiah 29:11.
Yeah.
Would be
So good. So
Yeah.
good. If there's one message you'd want to give to anyone, it could be, again, someone who's going through a situation similar to where you were when you're giving exams, or someone who's pursuing music or anything, if whatever's in your heart, right? If whatever God places in your heart right now, if there's anyone that you want to give a message to, be it in a music thing or medical thing, what would that be? If someone finds themselves.
I think before you set out to do anything, just not music and medicine, but I think it just applies to life in general.
Yeah.
The question of why,
Yeah.
and to see, again, it's a very difficult question to see, is it for me? Because that is something we figure out down the line. It's not like we have answers to everything,
Yeah.
but to surrender to the Lord and say, Lord, is it really for me?
Yeah.
But it's just not the saying and the praying only, but you need to put in that work as well.
Yeah.
Especially when people come and ask me, oh, how do I become a doctor, or how do I apply for that? And I always ask them, are you sure? Are you sure? Because it's a whole different ball game altogether. And people sometimes don't understand that.
Yeah.
They're just more of surface but there's more in depth, because I've a lot of friends we speak and they say, I'm not happy with what I'm doing, even though they might be at a very big post as well in medicine or things. And then you realize, you really need to have that
internal
thing about, of course, again, it's something you build along the way as well. But it needs to come from within to say, and then when I say within, it's not only your parents and all. Because sometimes I feel like, obviously parents are there to guide us. And then I was sharing this with my mom the other day as well. Parents want the best for us, but sometimes how to get there to, sometimes they are not sure. And as youngsters, we're very quick to putting parents aside. Hey, you don't know this, I know better than you, kind of thing.
The time is different.
The time is different.
Yeah.
And I was telling her as well yesterday that what parents sometimes lack up for in knowledge, they make up for in wisdom.
Oh, wow.
And it's so important that you seek their advice as well
100%.
as youngsters, because I think as youngsters we're very rebellious and say, my parents like this. At the same time, for parents as well to understand that we need to give our child space for them to grow. And when you talk about education, we always say, education. It's important that we all are educated. And I don't think the problem is education anymore. You see everyone's getting educated in a way or the other.
Wow, that's amazing.
But education, like I say, this is from a very famous physicist, I think it was Feynman or something like that. And he talks about how the problem is not with education. we are all educated,
Yeah.
but educated just enough to know what we have been taught, but not educated enough
Yeah.
to question what we have been taught,
Amazing.
you know?
Amazing.
And I think it's the time we start like thinking out of the box a bit as well
yeah.
and saying, okay, what am I going to do
Yeah.
forward from this?
Yeah.
And sitting down, having a plan, praying about it,
Yeah.
talking to people,
Yeah.
and don't be afraid to say, I don't know. For me,
Exactly.
every day is like, oh, I don't know this, teach
Exactly.
me.
That's so good.
And the first step to learning is saying, I don't know.
yeah.
Empty your mind and say, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like even every single day, I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't know this. Can you
Yeah.
teach me?
Yeah.
You will be laughed at. You will be probably, they will say, oh, this guy doesn't know this or that. But I said, I don't know, just teach me.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that white canvas
Yeah.
that you need to have
Yeah.
in any field that you do.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
with an intention, not because your friend is doing it or your neighbors are
You
doing
get
and
the why,
following
the why. Yeah.
a course,
Yeah.
whatever course that you're
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
Because you will go ahead somewhere and then when you reach that stumbling block or you have that
Yeah.
degree and you say, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with this?
Same.
Then the next
Yeah.
step is, oh, exams due like an outdoor. Everyone's sitting for exams and sometimes I think, oh, are you really wanting to do this? Upayan naik rule again.
Ito.
So there has to be a sense of that.
Yeah.
It's not easy. I know it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
Everyone has different circumstances.
Yeah.
But I think for our generation as youngsters, when
Yeah.
we have the information in our fingertips,
Yeah.
the guidance that we need to step up there and then just not for entertainment, YouTube, Instagram, but
Yeah.
use it to your benefits. Resourceful, speak
Yeah.
to people who have
Yeah.
done it or are doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get
Yeah.
inspired by
Yeah.
stories, pray about it,
Yeah.
ground yourself,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
above all, be thankful.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. And no, I sometimes I take these sessions with workshops with aspiring designers, people who are children who are planning to crack the NID, the National Institute of Design exams and all those things, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So much of it is just aptitude, and so much of it is mindset. It's mindset. So I also share the same thing. I ask them, get your why straight,
Yeah.
because what that does, it gets you through the tough times.
Exactly. It really does. Trust me, it does.
Yeah, because you know why, you know that you get to do it. Like you know that you've wanted to do this,
Yep.
and now you're doing
Exactly.
it. It's not something you're forced to. You wanted to.
You want to do it, so
and
yeah.
Yeah, and you remember your reason, and that's why it just came to my head. It helps in the good things like your career, but the why also helps in bad things. Like in the sense when you're trying to give up something as well.
Yeah.
I was heavily addicted to Red Bull. Bro, I used to drink like 5 cans a day and stuff like that. That's crazy, doctor. So, my internal,
I'm assessing you right now as you do
so
this. Yeah.
it's been about 2 years now.
Okay, good job.
There was one, but it's because of the why. Since my high school, like my whole college time, I used to drink a lot. All my friends, everyone would tell me like, "Don't, like this is too much. This is too much." Okay, just doing it right. There was one night I was driving out to buy Red Bull. My dad saw me. My dad was like, "Where are you going?" I was like, "Red Bull." And he's like, and he's like, "Come here." Like that's it. He sat me down and he really like in a really stern way, but he also reasoned it out, and that really put me in a place where I was like, if I don't listen to him, I'll probably not listen to anyone else. I'm also pretty stubborn like you.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, let's do it. I'm telling you, I would crave every day. I would crave, because it was also something that it was part of my routine. I'd wake up, have something. When I sit to work, 1 can. When I'm driving, first thing is like another can of Red Bull. Everything was just like filled with that. But after that day, it was just like I had my reason was my dad, and what my dad told me. And I'm not kind of putting myself in that place, but it's what your reason is. And every time I'm tempted, it gets me through the temptations. It gets me through the tough times. In the same way with your profession and with your life as well. The why, if you have a big enough reason, anything is possible. Why is what makes men go to battlefields to get shot.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Why would you do that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. If there's big enough reason, you would have people to go and fight for, put their lives on the line.
Yeah.
But it's the why, right? So I think that is one of the most important questions one needs to ask.
Yeah.
and also something. And again, it's a gradual process. It's something that you figure out.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it does not. You don't. Life doesn't come in a blueprint,
Yeah,
you know, and say do this, this, this,
Yeah,
this.
yeah. And
I would love to have that, but
yeah,
we don't. You know.
then everyone else would have figured it out.
Yeah.
But Elon talks about it. A couple of years ago, I came across this interview where he was talking about it. He was like, in an ideal world, everyone has their basic necessities. Everyone has their basic necessities met, and they are only doing what they like to do.
Yeah. Exactly.
And you see it in the developing countries versus countries like first world countries, where like government job is not the like they're not really that's not even in their mind, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's usually kind of a bit more passion driven, and all these things that they go for. If you ask someone in the US or the UK, it's usually that. But that's just the reality of where we are. The basic necessities as well.
Exactly. I know. Are we shooting of time or something?
No, go for it. There's no time limit.
Okay.
Yeah, we're already.
No.
Yeah.
So, yeah. On that note, you know,
yeah.
like sometimes, why can't we do this or that?
Yeah.
And my dad always says like everyone does not have the same circumstances.
Yeah.
Not only not about money wise as well,
yeah.
but there's so many things.
Factors,
Everyone has a different
Yeah.
plan and a path.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But I think I'm very passionate and excited when I talk about this because
see
now
it.
living in a different
Yeah.
country and then like
Yeah.
I'm always like, oh my gosh, like what's happening in Nagaland or
Yeah.
youths and what's the buzz going
Yeah.
around,
Yeah.
you know? And then there's so much of potential. There's like amazing, not only that, like people are doing it.
Yeah.
People are doing it, you know?
Yeah.
And then like just yesterday itself, I was saying, you just see another few years and oh my goodness, you know?
We always talk about there's an undercurrent.
Yep.
It'll just take a drop to break the dam.
Uh-huh,
Like there's a shift.
Yeah.
You see it brewing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was telling, my parents, no?
Yeah.
We're always discussing, okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're like, your time was different. Your time was, oh my gosh, we need a stable job.
Exactly.
That translates to government job. And that translates to, okay, I need 2 cars and a house and then a pension and then my life is stable.
Yeah.
And we were always told that, you know,
Yeah.
government job paiwe nilwi, utuk rule,
Our
stable
parents
hujao.
had to do it.
Had to do it because that's the only thing they knew.
They'll be on streets like
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because it's the generation
Yeah.
thing. And then in our generation, of course, there's nothing wrong with a government job, like, you know, but
If you want to do it.
if you want to do it,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but great. But like, I think there's so much potential beyond that as well.
Yeah.
And I think as a society, we're barely just touching the surface because still when we talk about music or creative arts or anything to do with arts related, it's almost like, you know, that sort of,
and all that.
that sort of stuff. And I think it comes more from a place for our parents of fear and also they don't know. They've not seen it done. So I think it's only a matter of time as we creatives, as they push forward in different things, you know. And me as a person, like kind of bridging in between, almost like here and there. So I'm like, you know, because some will say, oh, you need to study. Yeah, it's important. You need to study. You need to sit down and study. But again, like I said, don't let education be in that 4 walls. Move, learn, create. You know, all of these are really, really important as well. So I always say, like, I love it, you know, like to hear stories about someone being passionate with their works, their arts, music, obviously, for obvious reasons, and all of that. And I say, just wait, you know. It's already happening, but like, I'm so excited. And then I'm always grateful when I come home and I'm able to, you know, doodle a bit on the keys with some artists or just have the conversation or even this podcast in a very spontaneous,
I love it.
but things like that. But I think that wave is shifting in the thought is shifting. You know,
we have great taste. First of all, our people, and it's just there. To your point, it's just a certain undercurrent that is there. And someone asked me to take a government job. Like, why would I want to go to like a whole different rural district? Well, I have this. Again, that comes. I'm cognizant of my privilege. I'm very privileged to say this. But to your point, our parents had to do it. For us, we don't really have to. And honestly,
if you don't want to.
yeah, we don't have exactly.
yeah.
Right? So we could go on and on
We-
about
we-
this.
we could go on and
we're just
on.
actually getting started now.
This is another talk
we will
altogether.
we will definitely have
Yeah.
part 2 of Kevin Savino
Oh my gosh.
at some point. I would
So
love to have that.
exciting to-
When are you back next?
I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna just book it
See.
right now.
Like I said, it's a very spontaneous visit.
yeah,
Like my parents
yeah.
were surprised.
Yeah.
And it's typical when they saw me, my mom, when she saw me, the first thing I was expecting, those
Yeah.
reactions.
Yeah.
Ah, she
What
looked
are
at
you
me and
doing here?
she's like, "Did you get fired from your job?" It's the first thing she asked me, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!" That was the first thing that came to your mind.
Yeah, she's just caring for you.
Yeah, because for them, if it's like if you're not working, then
What
something
are you
is
doing?
wrong. More work equals very, very, very good. But I'm saying, Mom, times are changed now.
Yeah.
You need to sit down and take a break.
Yeah.
I'm going for my run, kind of thing,
Yeah, wow.
And then they're slowly accepting that
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
So it's good.
Yeah, I think we're again to your point. We're very privileged to have this life, to have our parents like that.
Yes,
Yeah,
very,
it's-
very thankful.
It's
very
crazy. I
thankful.
have friends. It's the other way around, and it's really sad. And yeah, it just comes from a place of privilege, and I think just the more we talk about it, the more it gives permission. To your point, it breaks a lot of glass ceilings. You're breaking a lot of glass ceilings of that. Oh, doctor, do it is or musician do like
It
all of
shouldn't
those
be.
things. Exactly.
It's not always. There's more colors than black and white. It's always
100%. The whole spectrum.
the whole spectrum.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
Go for it. I have one thing, but go for it. Finish it.
We're just getting started.
There's one thing, but yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Do you want to say it before you forget?
No, how do you know I have ADHD? But anyways, go ahead. Yeah. Inspecting.
Because again, for me, I can only talk about music and medicine.
Yeah.
But we talk about how medicine is so different from art, science, screen, and now. But now that I look at it, I can confidently say, being in this field, that music has shaped so much of my medicine as well.
Wow.
Medicine in itself is an art.
Yeah.
It's not something you learn from books. I'm sorry, but you can't be like da-da-da-da-da and then go to a patient and be like, okay, tell me what's wrong. It's an art you pick up. It's an art in itself. The art of being able to communicate with patients.
Yeah.
The art of holding hands.
Wow.
Touch we talk about.
Yeah.
The art of holding important conversations. We were
Yeah.
just discussing it the other day with a few of my colleagues. So there's
So
so
much
much
more.
to it than just diagnosis and treatment and all of that.
Yeah.
And that's why I say like I'm so passionate about
Yeah.
music and medicine and
Yeah.
how it affects,
Yeah.
and its effects. So yeah, I can go on and on about it. Like
There was one time I spoke again, Prism, a couple of years ago, when you said black and white and the whole spectrum. Reminded me of this thing that I shared. There was a time, especially our parents' time, where the colors, let's say the Vibgyor, the color of the rainbow, right? The colors of the rainbow. People, even now, some people see each color as individual kind of like boxes. Let's say like violet, indigo, orange, like kind of like just box. But reality is more like a gradient.
Yep, exactly.
It seamlessly blends to each other.
Yeah.
And the more you're able to learn that, you see that everything is actually connected. Right? Like, and it helps. It really makes, I've said this so many times in this podcast, like, everything you do, everything you are, everything that has happened to you, every person you meet, good, bad, or the ugly, it adds to the person that you are.
Yep.
And it makes you indispensable. And that's the key. And that's what, like, I'm a freelancer. But the reason why I'm indispensable is because I have all of these things. Like, I have so many things I bring, which it's not just because of my graphic design or my web design stuff, but what I bring to be client facing, all these different things that come from this, all of these different things is what makes Mung, right? Like, and then it don't. So I really believe if one is able to really hone, and because we're taught to sacrifice the other.
Exactly.
You're taught to sacrifice the music for
always.
yeah.
That's all I heard growing up.
Your whole life, yeah.
High school, and we're like, okay, this is the time you need to let go of music. High school, you're like, oh, metric karne study guru lage, music no guru. Music guru le time na thakibo. And then being stubborn as I am, I'm like, I'll do it. 10, 11, 12, oh, science, you can't do it. You shouldn't be doing it. It's not can't, but you shouldn't be doing it because you need to get serious with your life. And that's when I started doing a bit more than what I was supposed to do. So like you said,
Yeah.
it's can't put everything in a
Yeah.
box, you
Yeah.
know. And yeah,
It's preparing us for the future. I know we're running a bit thing, but it's preparing us for the future. Who knows? In the future, AI might take up all these things, but the other will be your actual.
Yeah.
You get it? Like you might as well
Yeah,
have
yeah,
these
yeah,
4 or 5
yeah.
different versions of you
exactly. Yeah.
in you, right? But yeah, Kevin, thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I really appreciate. Final thoughts. Any final thoughts?
I think I'll stop here because
Okay.
if not, then it's gonna go on
Yeah.
further.
No, but it's fine. You can. Any final thoughts? No. Yes. It's good.
No, I'm just want to thank you and then the entire team as well for having me on such a short notice. I know this,
Thank
we
you.
discussed this off
Thanks to Koko.
yeah
as well.
camera as well, but
Yeah.
like how this was so unplanned and spontaneous, but
Yeah.
it just kind of worked for
Yeah.
today,
Yeah.
you know. And
Yeah.
then again, there is like God has a plan for everything, and
Yeah.
I think that believe that this is again
Yeah.
one of his plans to get us here and then just have this
Conversation.
productive
Yeah.
and this transparent talk, very
Yeah.
unfiltered, no scripts,
Yeah.
you know. But I'm really thankful and grateful to be here.
So
And
glad.
yeah,
I'm so glad.
thanks for having me.
Thank you for your time. Thank you, Koko, for this. Yeah, it wouldn't have been possible without Koko.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much. Just so grateful for you and all that you're doing. Really, I really believe so many people look up to you. I look up to you
Thank you.
in all that you do, and it's so inspiring. Every aspect of what you shared. I really hope this reaches the right people. With that said, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Munguli Sound Podcast. All right, we done.
A 1,